Previously in the Bible.
Moshe summoned the elders of the nation and put the words Jehovah had commanded before them.
All the tools of the sanctuary, all its service, its pegs, and the pegs of the courtyard will be copper.
Take some of the blood on the altar and from the anointing oil and sprinkle it on Aharon, his clothing, and his sons and their clothing.
The whole nation ripped their earrings off and brought them to Aaron. He took the stuff, put it in a mold, and made them into a molten calf.
For thousands of years, we've been under the impression the Bible was meant to be taken seriously. Finally, a new translation that'll change all that. This is Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible!
Reach out, touch faith.
Yeah! Welcome to episode 32 of Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible with me, David Tuckman. I'm coming to you in front of a live audience at the Stanton Street Shul in New York City. Give it up for yourselves. Coming out in this dreary, gross weather. It was almost summer and then the rain came back. Each month on the show, a guest joins me and tries to read as many chapters as possible of my own personal translation of the Hebrew Bible while I make fun of it. And tonight, we're reading the 10th portion of Exodus, known in Hebrew as Vayakel and in English as You Will See. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2015. Oh my God, it's so weird to be doing this in a shul, in a synagogue. This is the third time we've actually done it in the basement of a synagogue, an active Orthodox synagogue. That's what I'm doing with my Bible comedy show. We've covered up the Aron Kodesh, where we keep the Torah, just out of a modicum of respect, because there's going to be some F-bombs flying. We don't want them to hit it, I guess. But there's still like a whole bunch of bound Torahs and Bibles in the back, but they're far away, so they'll be okay, right? This is a really interesting... First of all, I'm really excited to be doing this again in the Lower East Side. Usually we do this on 14th Street, but there's something very special about doing a show deep in the Jewish Lower East Side, surrounded by synagogues all over the place. What was once a thriving hub of Jews of all classes, working class, rich, wealthy Jews, religious, socialists, communists, capitalists, and is now mostly just investment bankers. But it's cool to be here now. We're still just a few blocks from Guy's Pickles, or the Pickle Guys, whatever Gus has turned into. Katz's is nearby. We're right in the hub of Judaism, even if it's kind of dying down here. But it's awesome, because this shul is still active. This is a really interesting shul. We had the rabbi on when we were doing season 1, or the former rabbi. He's now moved to Israel. There's a new rabbi here. He's really putting a lot of energy into this shul, which is really cool. I think he described it earlier as kind of the place where you go on the Lower East Side if you're not ultra-Orthodox. So it's a really interesting mix, a very eclectic mix of Jews of various kinds of observances down here. Just a little plug for the shul. On June 13th, there's going to be what's called the Eshel Shabbaton. There's going to be a Kiddush on that Shabbat, followed by a discussion about what it means, what acceptance means in different Jewish communities. If that sounds interesting, you feel free to come by. The next podcast episode, we're a little bit off our game. It's June 1st. We're a week late. Last week was Memorial Day, so we kind of didn't expect a show to happen at Beauty Bar. So we're doing it in a different place. The next show is going to be on June 22nd, and it's going to be the big fat Exodus finale. So please come out to that June 22nd at Beauty Bar, 7:30 p.m. If you're listening to the podcast, there has been no hiccup. It's still coming out on schedule thanks to a monumental effort from John and me editing. So good for you, I guess. As always, I want to thank Juicy for being our internet co-partner. I don't know what else to say. Let's get our guest up. Are you guys ready to meet our guest? Yeah, that's what I thought. There's nothing left on my list to say. This guy is a really great actor. I'm really excited to have him on the show. Most recently, he was in a film called Felix Maria, which is out in theaters, not everywhere, but they should be everywhere. It's a great film. Please get up for Luzer Twersky. How you doing, Luzer?
Hello.
Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I think they can.
Maybe on the internet. Everybody
on the internet
can hear me?
Not yet. They're going to very, very soon. They will. I think we're loud enough. I get a lot of complaints for not being loud enough. So we're going to be loud enough.
We're going to make it loud.
It's going to be so loud.
We're going to get loud.
If you're listening in your car right now, specific person who I'm thinking of, you're
Turn
not going to
down
be
the
able
volume.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So I saw your film. It's really incredible. Well, let's talk about this movie, I guess. So you play Shulam in Felix and Maria.
I do.
What is the movie
Maria.
about?
Maria.
Maria. That's a very different movie, Felix and Maria.
So the movie is about an Orthodox couple. It's about a love triangle where I play the husband of a woman who is unhappy in her marriage and in her Hasidic life.
Right.
And she has an affair with a French Canadian hipster, twice her age. And all the stuff that ensues is the movie is about all these three people, these three characters trying to make it work, trying to make this difficult situation work.
Yeah. Well, you play Shulam in the movie.
I do, yes.
You play, which is very confusing.
I play a
to
Jewish
me.
guy.
You play a Jewish guy.
yeah.
Big stretch
Yeah.
for you, which is very confusing to me because my last guest was named Shulam, but that's not important right
Yes.
now. You play Shulam, so you're playing the jilted husband, I guess.
Yes.
And I think what was interesting to me about this movie is that very often in these kind of stories, you know, the jilted husband or like the Baxter, I guess, the boyfriend or whatever who's left is kind of just made out to a complete monster. But there was a lot of humanity that you and I guess the director too gave to the character of Shulam.
Yes. I think that the film starts out. I'm pretty much a monster,
Right.
You know, and hopefully by the end of it, you're like, oh, he's not that such a bad guy. But I think that the Maxime Giroux, the director, who is not Jewish, he was just living in the Milan district of Montreal. The film is set in Montreal,
Right.
mostly, and he was living in the Milan district. Outremont in Montreal is very much like Williamsburg now, where it's like Hasidim and hipsters living side by side, and he was very curious about these people who live next to him, but he's got no connection with them, so he decided to write a movie about it. But unlike a lot of other people who decide to write movies about Hasidic Jews, he actually got to know some people, and he spent years and years of research to make sure that he doesn't like portray them as cartoons or caricatures. So that I think that his I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but his thing, whatever, is he really tried to give them a life. And
I think you really see that work and that care and that thought in the film.
Yes.
It's been called, and I haven't seen every single one, so I don't know if this is completely accurate, but probably is one of the most accurate movies I've seen made about Hasidic Jews. Or this
The most accurate.
The most accurate.
And if you haven't seen the other ones, you don't have to.
Okay,
you know,
then we
you
already got
shouldn't.
this one. Go see
They're not
Felix
that
and
good.
Maria, and
you
you're
know?
set. You're
Yeah.
fine.
Yes.
You actually, I think you pulled off a really good Yiddish accent in the movie, so kudos to you. What kind of preparation? What kind of preparation did you do for that?
I did about 22 years of preparation.
Wow.
For that part. I've been practicing my Yiddish since I started to talk.
Okay.
And I only started practicing my English for this show
Really?
about 10 years ago.
Well, thank you for
So,
that.
yes.
Well,
But
tell us about that, because you grew up a Hasidic Jew.
I grew up Hasidic. I grew up in my family is Belz. Mm-hmm. They're part of the Belz community in Borough Park. And my father's a Rebbe. My father has his own shul. And I was just talking
They wouldn't
to
have one of these here, would they? 'Cause I'm always
they
looking-
would not.
Okay.
They most certainly would not. And so I grew up in Borough Park. Went to Chayda, Yeshiva, and the whole thing. He got married when I was 19.
Oh my God.
Yep. And I guess that's the story basically. I left
Right.
about 7 years ago. I was 22. 3 years into my marriage, I fucked off, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, was there a particular event that led to this kind of? I mean, that's a very
9/11. 9/11.
Really?
No, of course not. It was a combination of many things. I just was never really happy with that life. I'm a very curious person. I've always wanted to know what's happening in the world, and since I was a kid, I was always fascinated and kind of turned on by everything I saw going on around me that I couldn't really look at or touch or experience, but it was attractive to me.
Right.
And I've always wanted to do it. And when I got a chance, and kind of shit went so south that I was like, I'm done. I've had enough. So it was that, and I got my hands on some Richard Dawkins material, and
Very dangerous.
I walked into a friend's apartment, and George Carlin was on HBO, and I couldn't get up, and I just thought I kept watching it, and I think I'd always say it was a combination of like losing faith and finding science, and just not being happy, just not liking smoking 6 days a week instead of 7 days a week. I really like smoking.
Oh my god! So it was
know?
cigarettes that did
It was cigarettes. It was
Interesting.
it wasn't cigarettes. It was chewlant. It was chewlant because everybody in their right mind knows that there's nothing better. Well, I wouldn't say nothing. There are very few things better than a cigarette after chewlant with a beer, and it was that.
So you were missing. You were
Yes,
craving that.
Yes, the straw that broke the camel's back wasn't actually a straw. It was a cigarette.
Interesting. But what I want to know is, I mean, clearly there are not many Hasidic actors, and definitely not many actually Hasidic actors. So was acting something that you wanted to do for a very long time? Was part of it just the pull to live a kind of creative life in a stifling community?
I would say like performing has always been something I wanted to do.
Right.
I've been performing since I was a kid in one form or another in the Hasidic community. I used to be a singer. I used to be a batchen. I don't know how many people know what that is. But it's kind of like a wedding kind of thingy. And I've always been like to be the center of attention and make people experience things. How I landed on acting, I don't know. I just when I started watching movies, I started out watching a lot of films with Hasidic characters because you wonder when you come from that community, I wonder how they see us. So
Right.
you watch these movies and you see how horrible they are and how inaccurate they are. And one of the things is I really wanted to go out there and like make movies that reflect my experiences accurately. So I was able because I had no competition really. There was
Right.
no other actor with a beard and pay who was willing to do films. I ended up getting a lot of those parts. Ended up in my inbox, and eventually this came along. I did a film a couple of years ago called "Where's Joel Baum?" a short film,
Right.
and the director Felix Maria ended up seeing it, and he was casting that film, so he invited me to be a part of that.
Very interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's interesting because it's like you had a particular goal that you wanted to accomplish it, and you did.
Yes, yeah.
What do you do now?
Well, now we're moving on to the next thing.
Okay,
Now,
cool.
I think that the truth is that the more I'm doing the performing arts, performance arts, I guess, acting and writing and all that, the more I'm beginning to understand that that's really what I've always been missing in my life, is doing something creative. Because I never thought of myself as someone very creative. I thought I was just weird.
Right.
But I'm working on some project. I can't get into details
Okay.
about it, but I can say that I'm working on something with Jill Soloway, and that's
6 feet under season 7.
yeah, right. and she is like
The Chevra Kadisha.
hanging out with those people. You realize that like actually, all the people who do great things are just a bunch of weirdos.
Right.
Who are trying to find their place in the world, and I think I'm coming to realize that maybe I am an artist. I don't know.
Well, you've been making art, so it's possible, and now you're going to read some weird Bible stuff.
There you
so
go. Let's do
What
that.
is that if not art? I just have, well, first of all, there are a couple questions that I ask all of my guests right now.
Okay.
So you grew up Hasidic. What do you identify as Jewish now? And if you do, any particular denomination?
Do I identify as Jewish? Yes. I am like the dentist played by Bryan Cranston on Seinfeld. I am Jewish for the jokes,
Wonderful.
and I also didn't get a nose job, so there you go. So yeah, I'm Jewish.
Okay.
For
Have
what
you?
denomination? None.
Okay.
None really.
Jokes.
I think I am Hasidic. I mean, not in practice,
Right.
but in heart. You can't give me a Persian chulent. I'm not going to enjoy it. Like
Those eggs are disgusting. I
Yes,
can't. I
you
just
know, like-
cannot. What they do
kugel-
is they take an egg and boil it in the cholent, and then you have to peel the egg sometimes. I just can't.
Okay, that actually the Hungarian Jews do that too, and it's really good.
Okay.
but
I'm gonna have
but
to
it feels
fight
like-
you after this.
Okay,
But yeah, it's still in your blood. It's what
it's
you
still in
are.
my blood. Kugel needs to be overnight potato kugel. I don't like when these like these regular Jews, like regular American Jews, when they say kugels. Yeah, I love the noodles. No.
Absolutely
that is not kugel.
Absolutely not.
That is not kugel.
And I don't know what's going on with all these like different kind of hummuses that are made with things that are in chickpea. No, absolutely
and hummus
not.
is not a Hasidic food.
No,
I
it's-
don't do hummus. I don't like hummus.
I-
I don't
I
like
was
falafel. I don't
introduced-
like hummus. I don't do any of that shit.
It took me a while
Jewish
to get on
food.
board.
No, Jewish food.
Is this why the Samur against Israel?
I think so.
It's
No.
all the food. Do we need
Jewish
to fix
food is kakash cake. That's Jewish food.
Exactly.
Kakash cake and milk. Where when you have where you get a piece of kokosh cake and a glass of milk, and the way it works is you end up having a little bit of milk left or a little bit of kokosh cake left. So if you have a little bit of milk left, you get another piece of kokosh cake, and then you have to refill the milk, and then you end up having a little piece of kokosh cake left, so you refill the milk again, and you just keep going on until your stomach bursts. Yeah.
That's Jewish.
That's Jewish.
Just a couple more questions. Have you
Yeah.
ever read? So we're about to read the Bible. We're so close to it. Have you ever actually read this thing?
I have not.
Okay. Do you remember anything from it? Is there a story that stands out from your learning as a kid from it?
It will come back to me.
Okay.
Once we get into it, it's going to come back to me.
Well, we'll see.
The
with
part
what
that's
we're
going to
about
come
read.
back to me is like, I don't know, you don't speak Yiddish, but the part that's going to come back to me is I'm going to remember every time the Rebbe in yeshiva said, "Wie Altman, where are we up to?" Because you're supposed to keep your finger on
Yes,
the
everybody
thing.
has
And
their
if you
finger
don't know where they're up to, you're going to get beaten up. So that's going to come back to me soon.
Okay.
Those memories.
One more question. Do you believe in God?
No, I don't.
Okay. Are you guys
Yes.
ready to read the Bible? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. This is Torah, a loose translation, Book 2, part/Parsha, or Book 2, names, Shemot, part/Parsha 10, Vayakel, a.k.a. gathered. Chapter 97 of my translation, woof, that's a lot, in which Moshe repeats all that Sabbath stuff yet again. Exodus 35:1 to 35:3, if you're following along in the normal version.
Moshe gathered all the freaking sons of Israel. These are the things Jehovah has commanded you to do, Moshe said. Do work for 7 days. The seventh day will be a holy one for you.
Oh my God, we know. Okay, so if you haven't been at every single episode, this is like the 8th time this is happening, so God's a boring guy.
A super fucking Shabbos to Jehovah.
Okay, so some translation notes. First of all, Moshe is obviously Moses. Jehovah is God, transliterated. I hew to the Big Lebowski version of the Bible. Walter Sobchak refers to the fucking Shabbos, and I think that adds a little bit of gravitas and importance to the Sabbath or the Shabbos. So every time it appears, we're talking about the Big Lebowski here, every time it appears in my translation, that's how it is written.
Anyone who works that day will die.
Not to be fatalistic, but everybody will die, but that's fine.
Don't carry a fire anywhere you live on the fucking Shabbos.
So, you really shouldn't carry fire anyway, but that's an important lesson from God. That's chapter 97. Yeah. By the way, so the laws of Shabbos are really confusing because it just says you shouldn't carry a fire. Somehow it gets extrapolated into a whole bunch of other stuff, which we can go into later. Anyway, chapter 98, in which Moshe gives his crew a shopping list. Exodus 35:4 to 35:29.
So, here's what Jehovah commanded you, Moshe said to the entire congregation of the sons of Israel. Bring a tribute to Jehovah. Everyone who has a generous heart will bring the following to Jehovah.
Anyone without a generous heart can fuck off.
Gold, silver, copper, turquoise, crimson, and purple yarn, twisted linen, red ram's skin,
Yep.
dolphin skin,
Sure.
shittim wood,
Yep.
oil to light, spices for the oil of anointing and for the incense smoke.
By the way, the incense smoke and the oil of anointing, as we learned in episode 31, may contain hallucinogenic drugs, so cool.
Shoham stones and filling stones for the vest and the breastplate.
Yep.
Everyone with a smart heart.
They didn't know about brains yet, so they thought hearts were smart.
Everyone with a smart heart in them should come and make everything Jehovah commanded.
Okay.
The sanctuary, its tents, its covers, its hooks, its beams, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, the box and its beams.
You gotta have the box, I mean.
The cover,
Not a sanctuary without a box.
the cover, the screen door thing, the table and its beams and all its stools, the face bread.
So, face bread in Hebrew is lechem hapanim, which translates roughly to face bread, which I like to think is a precursor to Facebook. I don't know how, but let's go with it.
The shiny candelabra and its stools, its candles, the oil for shining, the incense altar and its beams, the anointing oil, the smoky incense, the screen covering the sanctuary entrance, the altar for sacrifices and its copper grill,
Which is pretty much a barbecue.
and its beams, the sink and its pedestals, the curtains of the courtyard, its beams and its sockets, the covering of the courtyard gate, the pegs of the sanctuary and their cords,
It gets better, I promise. Gets a little more interesting.
the mesh clothing for the service in the holy clothing for Aharon the Kohen, the clothing his sons will use for their Kohening. All the sons of Yisrael left Moshe.
Because they were bored as hell.
Every man set his heart.
To stun.
All whose spirits...
Listen, all right. This is like... This is the worst, most boring thing. I had to reach really hard for these jokes, okay? So please forgive me. Thank you. It shows. I set out to translate everything. I got to translate everything.
All whose spirit moved him brought a tribute to Jehovah to be used in the work and the holy clothing of the tent of witnessing.
Okay.
All the men who held generous hearts came on the women.
Weird phrasing, but okay. I think it means approach, but let's go with that because, again, this sucks.
They took lip rings, nose rings, rings, beads, and lots of gold things.
No word on the belly rings.
Every man brought a gold offering to Jehovah.
Which is weird because apparently they used all the gold in the calf incident, but let's not go into that.
Anyone who found turquoise, crimson, or purple yarn, goat's hair, and red ram skin or dolphin skin brought it.
I don't know where they found this stuff in the desert, but that's cool.
Anyone who set aside a tribute of silver and copper brought it to Jehovah.
Okay, makes sense.
Anyone who found shittim wood for the sanctuary's work brought it.
And they probably had it because apparently everything was made of shittim wood back then.
Every woman with a smart heart spun the turquoise, the crimson, and the purple wool and linen with her hands.
You know, women's work.
All women whose hearts were moved with wisdom spun the goats.
So this probably means that they spun the goat's hair, but I prefer to believe that goat spinning is just an ancient vaudevillian performance thing that has long since fallen out of practice.
The presidents brought the shoham stones and the filling stones for the vest and the breastplate. The spice, the oil for lighting, the anointing oil, and the smoky incense.
That's a sentence fragment, but I don't think the Bible cares.
Every man and woman whose hearts moved them brought stuff for the work Jehovah commanded them. The volunteers brought it to Jehovah.
Great, that's chapter 98. This is 99, in which Moshe tells everyone who's in charge. Exodus 35:30 to 36:1.
Check it out, Moshe said to the sons of Israel. Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, from the tribe of Yehuda, Jehovah has called your name.
Come on down. You're the next contestant on God is Always Right.
Jehovah has filled Bezalel with Elohim-based spirit juice in wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and all work. Also, Bezalel now knows how to design gold, silver, and copper, to etch with stone for filling, to carve wood, and to do all kinds of arts and crafts.
Free will.
Jehovah put teaching into Bezalel's heart.
In the form of mitral valve prolapse. Better get that checked, Bezalel.
And also Eliav, the son of Achisamach, from the tribe of Dan. He filled them with heart wisdom to make the work of every craftsman, artist, and embroiderer in turquoise, crimson, and purple wool and linen.
Oh, God.
Also, the weaver. Pretty much everyone who makes things and all artists who make art.
Okay.
Bezalel, Eliav, and every man with a smart heart who had the knowledge and understanding to do all of the work for the holy service will make everything Jehovah put into them.
Put into them like card reading computers. That's chapter 99. Yeah, very exciting stuff. This is chapter 100, in which there's even more about this Bezalel guy. Exodus 32:2 to 36:8.
Moshe called to Bezalel, Eliav, and all the men who had smart hearts with Jehovah's wisdom inside of them.
Hey, baby, you got some Jehovah's wisdom inside you?
Pretty much everyone whose heart inspired him to do that work. They took all the tributes the son of Israel brought. Let's do it again.
Yeah, it's a weird syntax, but let's try.
They took all the tributes the sons of Israel brought from in front of Moshe.
Right, so they were in front of Moshe every morning, and they came and took them from the big pile of stuff.
Okay, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
More donations came in every morning. All the smart guys who were making the holy stuff stepped away from their work. The nation is bringing way more than we need for what Jehovah wants, Moshe said to them. Moshe commanded that they shouted throughout the camp. Everyone, stop bringing your holy tributes, they shouted. They all stopped bringing stuff. They had enough to make everything Jehovah wanted and more.
So, this is where, if this was written by a concise person, we would get a summary of everything that is made. But since it's the Bible, and even though we've already done this once, nope, let's go into very specific detail.
Every wise-hearted man working for the sanctuary... Every wise-hearted man working for the sanctuary made 10 panels from twisted linen and turquoise, crimson, and purple wool. They made the cherubs. They made the cherubs.
Cheruvim.
Artistically.
Good for them.
One panel was 28 amas long and 4 amas wide. They made the others identical to the first. He attached the 10 panels to each other. He made 5 turquoise loops on the edges of the end panels, arranged next to each other. He made 50 golden hooks and used them to attach the panel to each other. The sanctuary was one.
Guys, I think they're actually building a circus. Just dead dolphins. Desert dolphin. Some say it was the narwhal, actually. Yeah. Desert narwhals.
He made 11 panels of goat hair into a tent covering the sanctuary, 13 amas long and 4 amas wide.
By the way, if you think this is boring, you should have seen it before I edited down to make it even more concise, because it is written terribly.
He connected 5 panels in one group and 6 in another.
Oh.
He made 50 loops on the side of the outermost panels in each group.
Can you do it in Reverend Lovejoy voice?
He made 50 copper hooks to join the tent so it'd be one. He made a cover for the tent from the dyed-eyed ram skins with a dolphin skin cover on top.
Lovely, great.
He made the beams for the sanctuary of shittim wood. The beams were 10 amas tall and 1.5 amas wide. Each beam of the sanctuary had 2 tenons.
So that's like an old school joint that's used in woodworking.
Above each other like rungs. He made the beams for the sanctuary.
We know, you said that.
They made 20 beams for the southern side with 40 silver sockets underneath. 2 sockets under each beam for its 2 tenons. They made 20 beams and 40 silver sockets for the second face of the sanctuary, the north side, 2 sockets under each beam. He made 6 beams for the side facing the sea, the back. He made 2 beams at the back corners. They fit together on the bottom and were held together at the top by a ring. He did that at the corners too. There were 8 beams with 16 silver sockets, 2 sockets under one beam. We know that already.
Yes, we do. We know a lot of this already. We also know all of this already because all of it was 2 parses ago. But that's just the Torah way. God writes in mysterious ways.
2 sockets under one beam. We get it!
Yes!
We get it!
Don't you want to just go Gordon Lish on this thing? Like, oh my God.
Jesus Christ, how many sockets again?
2 sockets under each.
Okay, how many beams?
I don't even know anymore.
Jesus, Moshe, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Just draw a blueprint. Oh my God. That's the thing. They didn't have blueprints yet, I guess.
And
so they had to do this.
And who wrote this
edited
shit?
this?
Who wrote this
God.
shit? You know, I feel like what's his name? Jack Rebney. You know, my mind is just a piece of shit this morning.
Roma, we're going to get through this together. I want to say
Okay.
something, okay? This is a journey that I'm taking with you, the audience, as I translate the Bible. Sometimes it's super fun, sometimes it's this. So,
Okay.
thank you for being here with me.
Okay, let's just build this damn thing, all right?
Let's get
Let's
through
just
this.
build the damn thing. Okay. He made 5 bars of shittim wood for the beams on one side of the sanctuary, 5 bars for the second side, and 5 bars for the back side of the sanctuary to the west.
Yep.
He made the middle bar to cross across the beams from end to end.
I hate this book so much right now.
Just
the
call
love,
it-
the love will come back, but right now,
Yeah. It's a fucking door.
Yeah.
Basically.
they build a tent,
Yeah, okay.
as described previously.
Yeah.
See episode 29.
Yeah. He covered the beams with gold and made gold rings as housing for the bars. He covered the bars with silver. He made the screen of turquoise, crimson, and purple wool and twisted linen. He made, what is that?
Cherubs.
He made cherubs on it, as nice as an artist.
As nice as an artist they were.
He made,
I don't know. I heard groans.
he made 4 pillars of shittim and covered them in gold. Their hooks were gold too. Good to know. He poured 4 silver sockets for them. He made a screen of turquoise, crimson, and purple wool and twisted linen with embroidery for the entrance of the tent. And 5 pillars and their hooks. He covered the tops of the hooks and their belts with gold and their 5 sockets with copper.
That's chapter 100.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Please join us in just another 2 weeks for the next installment. And remember, you can talk back to me on Twitter, Facebook, OMGWTFBIBLE.com, or OMGWTFBIBLE@gmail.com. If you like the show, please share it and rate and review it on iTunes. The next live recording of Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible will be at Beauty Bar on Monday, June 22nd at 7:30 p.m. It's our big, ginormous Exodus finale, so be there. You don't want to miss this. There's going to be a lot more description of things. And be sure to tune in next week, because I promise it will be fun, and this will happen.
He made the candelabra of pure beaten gold. The candelabra... The candelabra, its base, shaft, top,